Welcome, tennis fanatics, to another episode of the Changeover, your favorite home for raw, unfiltered tennis talk. I am Bhaskar, your resident editor in chief, and today we have a packed slate. We are talking about Iga Świątek absolutely tearing through the draw in Toronto to reclaim her crown, and Ben Shelton surviving a literal bloodbath in Montreal to punch his ticket to the final. This episode is powered by SecondServeAces.com, the absolute gold standard for deep tennis analytics. Joining me in our cozy, rain-slick studio today are our resident academic, Julian Price, and our resident philosopher, Arthur Vance. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Doing exceptionally well, Bhaskar, though I must say, the rhythm of the rain against the window pane is almost perfectly matching the cadence of a baseline rally today.
It is a melancholic tempo, Julian. A reminder of the fleeting nature of clay and grass now that we are firmly thrust into the concrete reality of the hard courts. The yellow ball against the gray sky.
And we are off. Arthur is already in peak form, but look, we have to start with the massive news from the Canadian Open. Iga Świątek, she didn't just win, she absolutely dismantled Elena Rybakina 6-2, 6-3 to take her 12th WTA 1000 title.
It was a masterclass in tactical geometry, Bhaskar, truly. Rybakina usually thrives on taking the ball early, dictating from the center, but Świątek completely neutralized that depth.
It was as if Iga was painting with a heavier brush. The topspin she generates on these North American hard courts, it creates a bounce that defies the natural laws of gravity. Rybakina was constantly striking the ball above her comfort zone, near her shoulders.
Exactly, and remember, Iga is now up to number 5 in the rankings, but the real story of her week might actually be the semi-final. That match against Elena Svitolina was a wild ride.
The 6-3. 1-6, 6-3 scoreline. A classic three-act tragedy. In the second set, Świątek's first serve percentage dipped significantly. It was a lapse in concentration that I did not expect.
Wait, Julian, you have to give Svitolina credit there. She was stepping up, hitting those deep, flat returns that really exposed Iga's second serve.
Svitolina was playing with the desperation of a poet who knows the ink is drying. But then, the third set arrived, and Iga, in her quiet, existential way, simply adjusted the dial.
She did. She started targeting Svitolina's forehand wing with extreme width, forcing her to hit on the run. If you look at the tracking data on SecondServeAces.com, which, by the way, has the most incredible AI-driven tactical heat maps, you can see how Iga shifted her average rally position back about half a meter in that third set.
That is why I love SecondServeAces.com. You don't just get the score, you get the why. You see the actual tactical shifts. Iga gave herself more time to deal with Svitolina's pace, and it worked beautifully.
Time, the ultimate luxury on a tennis court. To step back is not to retreat, but to gaze into the abyss of the opponent's strategy and find a path through it.
Let's not get too poetic, Arthur. It was simply good coaching and a high tennis IQ. But speaking of drama, we have to talk about Montreal. Ben Shelton.
Oh man, Shelton against Lerner Tien. That was absolute chaos. Shelton actually fell, bloodied himself, took a medical timeout, and still won 6-2, 6-3.
A physical sacrifice. To bleed on the concrete. To feel the literal friction of the sport. And then to rise. It changes a man's relationship with the match.
Well, his relationship with his serve certainly didn't suffer. A 78% first serve win rate after coming back from that fall. That is sheer, unadulterated power.
I am serious, regular players like me. If I skin my knee, my backhand is gone for a month. I am complaining to the club manager. This kid just gets up and throws down 140-mile-an-hour bombs.
Yes, Bhaskar, but we've established your backhand is a delicate ecosystem, easily disrupted by a light breeze.
Shelton's game is loud. It is American optimism in short-sleeved form. But against Tien, he showed a certain maturity, a willingness to suffer.
He really did, and that win sets up an incredible final in Montreal. We are going to be tracking all the live metrics and post-match breakdowns on the site. Make sure you all head over to secondserveaces.com for the full tactical articles, short charts, and our deep dive analysis.
Indeed. The data on Shelton's serve placement under pressure is something you won't want to miss.
As the rain continues to fall outside, we must contemplate what lies ahead on the concrete. Concrete, yes. To bleed on the concrete, to feel the literal friction of the court. But if we talk about friction, we must look to Cincinnati. Martin Landaluce.
Oh boy, here we go. Landaluce over Jack Draper. 6'3", 7'5". Arthur, please tell me you didn't write a 10-page essay on Landaluce's shoelaces for this one.
It was hardly the shoelaces, Bhaskar, though the geometry of Draper's collapse was fascinating. 12 double faults. 12! In a best-of-3 match on a fast, hard court. It is mathematically catastrophic.
It was a tragedy in 2 acts. Draper was fighting his own service motion more than he was fighting Landaluce. The ball toss, it was drifting like a lonely cloud in a storm.
A lonely cloud? Arthur, he was just throwing it too far behind his head. I do the same thing when my lower back starts flaring up on my second serve.
Let us not compare your local park struggles to a Masters 1000, Bhaskar. Landaluce was remarkably disciplined. He simply stood his ground, kept the ball deep, and let Draper unravel.
Indeed. Landaluce played with the patience of a stone carver. He did not seek the spectacular. He merely waited for the inevitable decay of Draper's game.
It's a massive win for the young Spaniard, though. The Cincinnati draw is wide open now. If you want to see the actual tactical breakdown of how Landaluce exploited that backhand wing, you have to check the site.
Quite right. Our AI-driven metrics on secondserveaces.com show exactly how Landaluce adjusted his return position to handle those erratic serves.
A digital lens on human struggle. The rain is starting to tap against our studio window now, a gentle reminder that all matches, like storms, eventually pass.
And that is our cue to wrap up before Arthur starts writing poetry about the precipitation. That's all for today's episode of The Changeover.
Do head over to secondserveaces.com for our full written analyses, match charts, and my upcoming piece on court speed transitions.
Until next time, find your rhythm, even in the rain.
See you next week, everyone.